In the heart of a sweltering summer night in Atlanta, Georgia, where the humid air clings to your skin like a guilty secret and the distant wail of sirens echoes the unspoken fears of a divided nation, a young black teenager named Jamal Harris stumbles down a dimly lit alley, his heart pounding like a war drum as two white police officers close in with batons raised and faces twisted in rage. Little do they know, this isn't just another routine stop, it's the spark that ignites a firestorm of justice, revenge, and hidden truths that will shake the foundations of power from the streets to the White House. If you're in the USA or UK, gripped by stories of real-world heroes fighting systemic shadows, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this tale of a father's fury and a son's survival will keep you hooked till the very end, and you won't want to miss the twists that could change how you see the world forever. Jamal Harris was just 17, a lanky kid with dreams bigger than the projects he called home, his backpack slung over one shoulder heavy with textbooks from the community college where he was taking early classes in criminal justice. Ironic now as he reflected on it while running through the back streets of East Atlanta, his sneakers slapping against the cracked pavement, breath coming in ragged gasps. It had started innocently enough, or so he thought, a late-night walk home from his part-time job at the corner store, flipping burgers and mopping floors to save for a better life, but the patrol car had pulled up beside him, lights flashing like accusatory eyes in the dark. "Hey, boy, where you think you're going?" one of the officers had snarled, his voice thick with that southern drawl that carried undertones of authority and prejudice. Jamal had frozen, hands instinctively rising, palms out, because he knew the drill from the talks his father had given him since he was old enough to understand: don't run, don't argue, just comply. But compliance wasn't enough tonight. The officers, Officer Daniels, a burly man with a mustache that hid his perpetual sneer, and Officer Ramirez, younger but no less aggressive, his badge gleaming under the street lamp, had yanked him against the wall, frisking him roughly, their hands invading his space as if he were already guilty. "What's in the bag, huh? Drugs? Stolen goods?" Daniels barked, though Jamal's bag held nothing but books and a half-eaten sandwich. He tried to explain, words tumbling out in a rush, but a shove silenced him, his head cracking against the brick. Pain exploded in his skull, and that's when the real beating began. Blows rained down like a storm, fists to his ribs, boots to his legs, the night air filled with grunts and curses. "You think you're tough, kid? Walking around like you own the place," Ramirez hissed, his baton connecting with Jamal's arm, a sickening crack that made him cry out. Blood trickled from his lip, warm and metallic, as he curled into a ball on the ground, shielding his face. Memories flashed through his mind, his mother's gentle smile before she passed from cancer 2 years ago, his father's stern lectures about staying out of trouble, the friends who'd been lost to similar encounters. Why me? He thought, but he knew why. His skin color was the unspoken crime. Through the haze of pain, Jamal fumbled for his phone in his pocket, fingers slick with sweat and blood. The officers laughed, thinking he was reaching for a weapon, and Daniel stomped on his hand, grinding the heel into his knuckles. "What you got there? Calling your gang buddies?" But Jamal managed to dial the one number he knew by heart, the emergency line to his father, Special Agent Marcus Harris of the FBI, a man whose name struck fear in corrupt hearts across the country. The phone rang once, twice, and then connected. "Dad," Jamal gasped, voice breaking, "help, cops, beating me." The line went silent for a beat, then his father's voice boomed through the speaker, calm but laced with steel: "Put them on the phone, son. Now." The officers paused, batons mid-swing, exchanging uneasy glances. Who was this kid? Daniel snatched the phone, pressing it to his ear. "This is Officer Daniels, Atlanta PD. Your boy's resisting arrest." But Marcus's response was a thunderclap. "This is Special Agent Marcus Harris, FBI Counterterrorism Division. You touch my son again, and I'll have your badges melted down by morning. Location now." The color drained from Daniels' face. Ramirez stepped back, suddenly aware they'd kicked a hornet's nest. Sirens wailed in the distance, not theirs this time, but federal ones. Jamal lay there, bruised and bleeding, but alive, as the world shifted on its axis. Little did anyone know, this was just the beginning, a web of corruption that tied these cops to a larger conspiracy, one involving dirty money, racial profiling rings, and a secret society pulling strings from the shadows. Marcus Harris arrived like a force of nature, his black SUV screeching to a halt, doors flying open as he stormed out in his tactical vest, badge flashing under the alley lights. He was a towering figure, 6'4" of solid muscle honed from years in the Marines before joining the Bureau, his dark skin etched with scars from operations in Iraq and undercover stings in Chicago. "Step away from my boy," he ordered, voice low and lethal. The officers complied, hands hovering near their holsters, but Marcus was already kneeling beside Jamal, assessing the damage with a father's tenderness masked by professional detachment. "You okay, son?" Jamal nodded weakly, tears mixing with blood. Paramedics arrived moments later, summoned by Marcus's call to dispatch, and as they loaded Jamal into the ambulance, Marcus turned to the officers. "You're suspended. Effective immediately. And pray I don't find more on you." But as he dug deeper that night, poring over body cam footage he demanded on the spot, footage that mysteriously glitched during the beating, Marcus uncovered the first thread: these weren't rogue cops, they were part of a network. Back at the hospital, Jamal lay in a sterile bed, for dripping fluids into his arm, ribs wrapped and face swollen. His father sat vigil, phone buzzing with calls from superiors. "This goes higher, Jamal," Marcus said, eyes distant. "Daniels and Ramirez have ties to a group called the Guardians, ex-cops running protection rackets, targeting black neighborhoods for shakedowns." Jamal's eyes widened. He'd heard whispers in school, kids saying the police were in on the drug trades, but this? "Why me, Dad?" Marcus sighed, the weight of his double life pressing down. By day, he was the decorated agent busting terror cells; by night, a single father raising a son in a world that saw them both as threats. "Because you're my son. Someone's sending a message." And indeed, as Marcus hacked into department records, using his clearance, of course, he found emails linking Daniels to a city councilman, Elias Thorne, a slick politician with a smile for the cameras and pockets lined with bribes from real estate developers eager to gentrify the projects. The next morning, news broke like a dam bursting: FBI agent's son brutally beaten by Atlanta cops, video goes viral. Jamal's call had been recorded by a bystander, a young woman named Lena who lived nearby and filmed from her window. The clip spread across social media, hashtags like #JusticeForJamal trending in the US and UK, where protests erupted in solidarity, from London's Trafalgar Square to New York's Times Square. Activists chanted, signs waving, "Black Lives Matter" and "Police brutality now." But amid the outrage, threats poured in. Marcus's phone rang with anonymous calls: "Back off, agent, or your boy won't be so lucky next time." He traced one to a burner in Thorne's district, confirming suspicions. Jamal, recovering at home now, bandaged but unbowed, begged his father to let it go. "I don't want you in danger, Dad." But Marcus couldn't. This was personal, and as he delved deeper, he discovered Thorne wasn't just corrupt. He was the linchpin in a syndicate smuggling fentanyl through the ports, using cops like Daniels to eliminate competition, including rival dealers in Jamal's neighborhood. Twist 1 came swiftly. While Marcus staked out Thorne's mansion in the suburbs, a palatial estate with manicured lawns hiding underground vaults of cash, he spotted a familiar face: his ex-partner from the Bureau, Agent Carla Voss, slipping out the back door. Carla, a white woman he'd trusted with his life during a botched op in Boston years ago, where she'd saved him from a sniper. Betrayal stung like a fresh wound. "What are you doing here?" he confronted her later at a seedy bar downtown, away from prying eyes. She looked haunted, eyes darting. "Marcus, it's not what you think. Thorne has dirt on everyone, including me. He forced me to leak intel." But Marcus smelled lies. Digging into her finances, he found offshore accounts bloated with payoffs. Carla was in deep, perhaps even orchestrating the hit on Jamal to draw Marcus out, knowing his temper would lead to mistakes. Meanwhile, Jamal wasn't idle. Bored in recovery, he hacked into the school's network, skills picked up from online tutorials, dreaming of cybersecurity one day, and found chat logs from a student group exposing police informants among the youth. One name stood out: his best friend, Tyrone, who'd been acting shady lately. Confronting Tyrone at the park, Jamal demanded answers. "You set me up? For what?" Tyrone broke down, confessing, "They paid me, man. Said it was just a scare. Didn't know they'd beat you like that." The "they" was Thorne's crew, using kids to spot targets. Hurt by the betrayal, Jamal recorded the confession on his phone, sending it to his father. Marcus used it to flip Tyrone into a witness, but not before a drive-by shooting targeted their home, bullets shattering windows as Jamal dove for cover. "This ends now," Marcus vowed, gearing up for war. As the investigation intensified, Marcus assembled a team. Loyal agents like his mentee, Sarah Kim, a sharp Korean-American analyst, and undercover operative Raul Gomez, who infiltrated Thorne's inner circle posing as a dirty cop. They uncovered layers. The Guardians weren't just local, they linked to a national network, the Patriot Front, a white supremacist group masquerading as a veterans' charity, funneling funds to politicians in swing states. Thorne was their golden boy, poised for a Senate run. But twist 2 hit like a freight train. During a raid on a warehouse where drugs were stored, Marcus found files not just on smuggling, but on his wife's death. Her cancer? Not natural. Poisoned, the autopsy hinted at foul play, covered up because she'd been a journalist investigating Thorne's early scandals. Rage boiled over. Marcus nearly executed a captured thug, but Sarah pulled him back. "We do this right, or we're no better." Jamal, empowered by the chaos, joined the fray covertly. Sneaking out one night, he met Lena, the bystander who'd filmed the beating, at a coffee shop. She was a budding activist, 22 with fire in her eyes, and together they rallied online, amassing evidence from victims across the city. Their bond grew, tentative romance blooming amid danger, stolen kisses in hidden spots, whispers of a future free from fear. But danger lurked. Ramirez, out on bail, ambushed Jamal in an alley reminiscent of that fateful night. "You ruined my life, kid," he growled, gun drawn. Jamal fought back, using self-defense moves his father taught, disarming Ramirez just as Marcus arrived, backup in tow. Ramirez spilled under interrogation. Daniels was the triggerman in multiple unsolved murders, including a black activist last year. The climax built to a fever pitch. Thorne, sensing the noose tightening, called a press conference, denying everything with crocodile tears. "This is a witch hunt against law enforcement." But Marcus crashed it, flanked by FBI SWAT, arresting Thorne live on camera. Chaos ensued. Supporters clashed with protesters, fists flying as news crews captured the melee. In the fray, Carla Voss emerged from the crowd, gun aimed at Marcus. "You should have stayed out," she sneered. Twist 3, she fired, but the bullet grazed him, and in the struggle, revelations poured out. Carla wasn't betraying for money. Thorne had her daughter hostage, leverage from a past affair. "Help me save her," she begged as cuffs clicked. Marcus, ever the hero, orchestrated a rescue, storming Thorne's hidden bunker where the girl was held, along with crates of evidence, ledgers naming congressmen, judges, even a UK diplomat tied to international arms deals. In the aftermath, as Thorne's empire crumbled, trials dominated headlines. Daniels and Ramirez got life, Carla turned state's witness for reduced sentence, and the Patriot Front dissolved under federal scrutiny. Jamal testified, voice steady, becoming a symbol of resilience. He and Lena started a foundation for police reform, funded by seized assets. Marcus, promoted to director of a new task force on corruption, finally found peace, though scars remained. Father and son stood on their porch one evening, watching the sunset. "We did it, Dad," Jamal said. "Yeah, but the fight's never over," Marcus replied. Yet in that moment, hope flickered, a reminder that one call can change everything. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Years later, Jamal, now an FBI agent himself, faced his own crisis, a copycat group rising from the ashes, led by Thorne's son, hell-bent on revenge. In a London safehouse, tying back to that UK connection, Jamal uncovered global ties, from British intelligence leaks to American deep state puppets. Chases through foggy streets, betrayals by allies, and a final showdown atop Big Ben, where truths about Marcus's past emerged. He'd been undercover in the Guardians long ago, planting seeds for their fall. Twist 4, Marcus wasn't just an agent, he was a double, feeding info to civil rights groups. The cycle continued, but with Jamal at the helm, justice evolved. Expanding further, let's delve into Jamal's childhood flashbacks, painting the picture of a boy raised in the shadow of heroism. At age 10, he'd watched his father leave for missions, suitcase in hand, promising to return with stories sanitized for young ears. "Daddy fights bad guys," his mother would say, baking cookies to ease the worry. But after her death, the house grew quiet, echoes of laughter replaced by late-night calls and Marcus's haunted eyes. Jamal rebelled briefly, skipping school, hanging with the wrong crowd, until a close call with gang violence snapped him straight. "I won't lose you too," Marcus had said, enrolling him in martial arts and tutoring. Those skills saved him that night in the alley. Lena's backstory added depth. Orphan young, raised in foster care, she channeled pain into activism, her viral video not her first. She documented protests in Ferguson, marched in Black Lives Matter rallies across the pond in Manchester, connecting transatlantic struggles. Their relationship faced tests: jealousy from Tyrone's redemption arc, where he became an informant, risking life for atonement; cultural clashes as Jamal navigated his identity in a post-incident world; media hounding him as the beaten boy who fought back. Marcus's internal battles were profound. PTSD from war zones mingled with racial trauma. Therapy sessions revealed doubts about the system he served. "Am I part of the problem?" he'd confide to Sarah, who shared her own stories of discrimination in the bureau. Their team dynamics evolved. Raoul's humor, lightning moods, like cracking jokes during stakeouts. Thorne's so slimy, he could slide under a door. The conspiracy widened. Documents revealed Patriot Front's influence on elections, voter suppression tactics echoing UK Brexit manipulations. Jamal's hack into their servers. Ethical gray area exposed emails to foreign agents, prompting international warrants. A subplot emerged with a whistleblower in Thorne's office, a secretary named Maria, who smuggled files at great risk, her family threatened. Action sequences intensified. A car chase through Atlanta's highways, Marcus dodging bullets while Jamal navigated from the passenger seat, phone app tracking pursuers. Explosions at the port as drug shipments burned, firefighters battling flames amid gunfire. Emotional peaks. Jamal's hospital vigil for Marcus after the shooting, roles reversed, son whispering encouragement. Resolution brought catharsis. Thorne's trial, broadcast worldwide, saw victims testify, tears flowing as justice prevailed. Jamal proposed to Lena on a UK trip, Big Ben tolling as she said yes. Marcus retired, writing a memoir, but stayed vigilant. The story circled back. One call started it all, a reminder that in a world of injustice, family and truth are the ultimate weapons. Yet, to flesh it out to epic proportions, consider the extended family dynamics. Marcus had an estranged brother, Uncle Ray, a former cop turned private investigator in Chicago, who joined the investigation midway, bringing street smarts and old grudges. Ray had left the force after witnessing brutality, his testimony key in linking Guardians to historical cases like Rodney King echoes. International angles deepened. The UK diplomat, Lord Harrington, met his end in a sting operation involving MI6 collaboration, Jamal posing as an informant in posh London clubs, navigating accents and espionage. Twists multiplied. Harrington was Carla's real handler, her daughter a code for classified intel. Subplots woven social commentary, community meetings where residents debated reform versus abolition, Jamal advocating for change from within. School scenes showed kids inspired, starting anti-bias clubs. Media scrutiny portrayed, with biased reporting challenged by Lena's podcasts. Character arcs completed, Tyrone's redemption through community service, becoming a mentor. Sarah's promotion, breaking glass ceilings. Raoul's family reveal: he lost a brother to police violence, fueling his fire. The narrative swelled with descriptive prose, Atlanta's vibrant streets, soul food aromas mixing with tension, London's rain-slicked cobblestones, fog shrouding secrets. Dialogues crackled: "You can't fight the system alone," Lena to Jamal. "Watch me," he replied. In the end, as Jamal stood at his father's grave years later, Marcus passing peacefully, the legacy lived on. One call, one voice, rippling through time, inspiring generations. The story, a tapestry of pain, power, and perseverance, reminded all: justice isn't given, it's taken.